Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we are focusing on something pretty transformative, the merger of the Scaled Agile framework, SAFe, and artificial intelligence. If you happen to be an SPC, a safe practice consultant, you already know your role is, well, fundamental in getting organizations to change. But the sources we've looked at today, put together by learning technologist and SPC Ravi Sankar, they make a pretty bold claim. AI isn't just tweaking the job, it's set to completely reshape it. So our mission here is to really understand how AI isn't just, automating stuff. It's becoming a strategic tool. It's changing the SPC from mainly a process coach into someone who's predictive, data-driven, leading the transformation.
Yeah, and what's really striking here, and this is the key insight for you listening, is that SPCs who can actually blend that deep, safe knowledge with practical AI skills. They're not just a little better off. They become exponentially more valuable. We're talking about accelerating agility in ways that are, frankly, impossible if you're just relying on manual methods. So we're really looking at how AI turns reactive problem solving into, well, genuine predictive planning and strategy.
That's a huge claim. So where do we even begin to unpack that kind of shift? It sounds massive.
Well, I think we start at the strategic level, where the big decisions get made. Historically, managing projects, even large programs, it's often reactive. A problem pops up, you react. AI fundamentally shifts the SBC's role towards being proactive, and it does this using predictive analytics.
Okay, explain that a bit more. What does predictive analytics actually mean in a safe world? What's it look like?
It means getting beyond just educated guesses about risk. AI uses machine learning, or where computers spot patterns without being explicitly told what to look for, to analyze just enormous amounts of data. We're talking historical sprint data, team performance metrics, complex dependency maps.
And crucially, across lots of teams, right?
Yeah.
Multiple Agile release trains or RTs.
Exactly, simultaneously. That's the part a human brain just can't handle at scale. An STC might track, 3 RTs closely. AI can analyze data from 30 or more.
Right, it's the pattern recognition across that huge data set.
Precisely, and the real nugget here is its ability to forecast problems, potential delays, resource bottlenecks before they actually bite you. Like, the sources show examples where AI predicts which specific user stories are likely to slip next quarter. It bases this on subtle historical trends and how that team handles complexity, their past velocity, dependency issues.
Wow. Okay, so that gives the SPC preventative power, not just cleanup duty.
Exactly. It changes the whole conversation.
Which must immediately impact things like lean portfolio management, LPM, because, LPM often struggles with those rigid annual budget cycles. So if AI is feeding you real-time data about potential roadblocks or, conversely, opportunities, how does that challenge the fixed finance model?
Oh, it absolutely challenges it. You could almost say it wages a data-driven war on fixed annual budgeting. That's the strategic power. AI helps portfolio management become less of a static once-a-year thing and more of a continuous optimization process. It can dynamically recommend shifting funds between value streams or RTs, and it does this based on real-time data changing market conditions, actual performance data coming in, competitor moves.
So you could pivot resources much faster in weeks instead of waiting for the next budget cycle.
Potentially, yes. It allows for that agility at the funding level, which, let's be honest, can be a huge cultural shift.
I can imagine. That would challenge the traditional finance roles, wouldn't it? They like predictability.
It does. But to make those dynamic shifts actually defensible, AI uses something called natural language processing, NLP. NLP is the AI that understands language. It can read strategy docs, objectives, key results, even emails to map investments directly back to stated strategic goals.
Okay. So every suggested funding shift isn't just a whim. It's clearly tied back to the why.
Exactly. It moves the discussion from opinions around a table to verifiable data alignment. We should shift funds because this directly supports strategic objective X, and here's the performance data.
Okay, let's connect that high-level strategic stuff to the very beginning of a transformation, the roadmap. That initial phase is critical for executive buy-in. How does an SBC use AI there to build confidence?
By taking a lot of the guesswork out of assessing, organizational readiness. An SPC can use AI-powered analytics to look at everything. Historical project success rates, cultural indicators may be pulled from surveys or communication analysis, existing process maturity. This allows for a much more customized roadmap. It's not just slapping a generic SAFe template onto the company. It's tailored.
And can it predict success? Because that's what executives really want to know.
Well, predicts might be strong, but it can forecast likely transformation outcomes. It does this by modeling based on benchmarks. It looks at similar company size, industry, starting maturity that have gone through similar transformations. So it gives executives a data-backed projection. Organizations like yours that followed this type of roadmap saw X improvement in Y timeframe. It feels much safer than just a consultant's promise.
That makes sense.
And it's becoming so important that the Advanced Safe Practice Consultant Certification, the ASPC, actually calls out AI empowerment as a core skill now. The industry itself is saying this combo is the future.
Right. It's not just a nice to have anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. That logically takes us from the high-level strategy down into the day-to-day. Operational efficiency. Let's talk value streams. Anyone who's facilitated a value stream mapping workshop knows it can be, well, pretty intensive and maybe outdated quickly. What does AI do there?
It transforms it from a, sometimes laborious one-off snapshot into something continuous and dynamic, like an ongoing X-ray of how value flows. Traditional mapping creates a static picture. AI offers continuous analysis across your RDs, identifying those hidden dependencies, constraints, process bottlenecks as they happen.
In real time.
Near real time, based on the data feeds. This means decisions made at the lean portfolio management level are always based on the freshest picture of efficiency, not last quarter's map.
And the sources mentioned something about scenario modeling here. That sounded really powerful for risk mitigation.
Oh, absolutely. Think of it like a digital twin or maybe a sandbox for your value streams. AI modeling lets leadership visualize the impact of potential changes. What happens if we merge these two teams? Or change this key process interface. You can simulate it first, see the likely effects on flow and cost before you commit resources and disrupt things in the real world.
Okay, that's a huge risk reduction capability.
Definitely. You're testing major changes virtually.
Let's drill down even further. Sprint planning. This is where the rubber meets the road for teams, but it's also where you see a lot of, well, guesswork, overcommitment, arguments over story points.
Oh yes, the classic estimation debates. AI aims to bring data to that process. Machine learning algorithms train on that team's specific historical data, how long similar stories took. Complexity factors who worked on them can provide much more accurate story point estimations.
More accurate than the team's gut feel.
Often, yes. Or at least a very strong data point to anchor the discussion. It helps improve the predictability of the plan. And beyond estimation, AI can help with prioritization too. It can analyze backlog items against configured criteria, business value, risk reduction, cost of delay, and suggest an objectively prioritized list for the product owner or manager.
And resource allocation. Does it get into suggesting who should do what?
It can, yeah. It can look at matching tasks to team members based not just on stated skills, but on their actual past performance with similar types of work, their current workload, even identifying potential bottlenecks if one person gets overloaded.
That sounds incredibly useful. But I can also see a potential tension there. If the AI says a story is 5 points, but the team feels it's an 8, what happens to team autonomy? Do they just have to accept the AI's number?
That's a really crucial point, and that's where the SPC's role evolves. The AI provides a recommendation, maybe a strong one, based on data, but the SPC needs to facilitate the conversation around that data. It's not about blindly following the AI. If the team consistently disagrees, the SPC needs to help figure out why. Is the AI model missing something? Is there a hidden dependency the team knows about? Or is the team being overly cautious or ambitious? The AI forces a deeper, more data-informed discussion, but the human judgment is still key.
Okay, so the AI is a tool, not the boss. That makes sense. Now let's talk about the big event, PI planning, program increment planning. It's often described as, organized chaos, 2 intense days. How does AI help prevent the common pitfalls there, like overcommitment or missing key dependencies?
AI actually starts contributing well before the planning event kicks off. During the preparation phase, it can automatically scan the backlog of features planned for the program increment. It looks for potential technical risks, complex integrations, and especially those tricky cross-team dependencies that might be buried in the details. Finding those before everyone's in the room saves a huge amount of time and potential rework.
So it's like pre-flight checks for the PI.
Exactly. Then, during the 2-day event, AI can provide real-time support. Dashboards can visualize the flow of planning, track team confidence votes, show how commitments are stacking up against capacity, and some tools are even using NLP, natural language processing again. They can analyze the language being used in team breakout notes or chat channels during planning.
To do what? Gauge sentiment.
Sort of, yeah. To identify potential alignment issues or hidden risks. If a team's notes about a feature are consistently vague, or if they keep asking basic clarifying questions, the NLP might flag that as low confidence or lack of clarity, even if they voted 3 on the confidence vote.
Subtle indicators.
Right. It gives the SPC or the RTE actionable insights during the heat of planning. Maybe check in with team areas. The AI flags some uncertainty around feature X.
That's a significant shift. Okay, let's pivot slightly. We talked a lot about process and data. What about the people side? The coaching, the culture change? That's a huge part of an SPC's job. How does AI help there? Does it make coaching less necessary?
No, I'd say it makes the human coaching more strategic. AI can handle some of the more routine guidance, freeing up the SPC for higher level interventions. We're seeing the emergence of AI-powered virtual coaching assistants. Think of them as like an on-demand knowledge base and guide. They can answer basic, safe questions, provide templates, offer consistent reminders about practices 2004/7.
So the SPC doesn't have to answer the same "what's the definition of done?" question 50 times.
Exactly, it provides leverage. But where it gets really interesting is using AI for data-driven coaching insights. AI can analyze patterns in team communications, think anonymized retrospective notes, maybe trends in chat platforms, combined with performance data to spot recurring dysfunctions that a human might miss in all the noise.
So instead of just having a gut feeling that a team is struggling with, say, requirements,
Right. The AI might quantify it. It might detect a persistent pattern of features being blocked due to unclear acceptance criteria, or maybe a lack of timely stakeholder feedback identified through sentiment analysis and comments. It flags these specific recurring issues. This lets the SPC go in with targeted coaching interventions based on actual evidence, not just anecdotes. It makes the coaching much more precise and effective.
okay, that makes coaching more targeted. Now, the sources mentioned a really specific application, using AI within SAFE training itself, like for leading SAFE or other certification courses. That sounds quite novel.
It really is. It's about moving towards truly adaptive learning, personalizing the training experience in a way that's hard to do in a standard classroom. There are sort of 3 key parts to this. First, there's real-time comprehension assessment. The AI system isn't just looking at quiz scores. It's monitoring how learners interact with the material. How long do they spend on a concept? What questions do they ask? It uses NLP on their inputs to gauge genuine understanding versus just memorizing terms.
So it can tell if someone's really getting it or just clicking through.
That's the goal, yeah. And if it detects a gap in understanding.
Then what? Does it adjust?
Exactly. That leads to the second part, automated pace adjustment. If the AI sees you're grasping concepts quickly, it might accelerate you through some material or offer more advanced topics. But if you're struggling with something, it automatically slows down. It provides extra resources, maybe a different explanation, a video, an infographic tailored to how you seem to learn best, offering scaffolding before moving on.
Ensuring mastery before progression.
Right. And this all feeds into the third piece, personalized pathways. Before you even start, maybe there's a baseline assessment. An experienced Agile leader might test out of the foundational modules entirely and jump straight into scaling patterns, or LPM. A newcomer gets the full grounding. The AI helps build a learning path optimized for your specific needs and existing knowledge.
That sounds incredibly efficient for professional development, maximizing learning time.
It really does.
Okay, so if AI can help tailor learning, can it also help with the really tough, intangible stuff like shifting organizational culture? That's often the hardest part of a SAFE transformation.
It's definitely a frontier, but yes, SPCs are starting to use AI tools for that too, primarily through intelligent sentiment analysis. By analyzing aggregated, anonymized communication data from collaboration platforms, surveys, maybe even public reviews, AI can help gauge the overall cultural climate. Is it aligning with lean and agile values like transparency, collaboration, psychological safety? Or is there friction?
So it's like taking the pulse of the organization's culture continuously.
In a way, yes. And beyond just monitoring, predictive models are being developed. These try to identify which teams or departments might be most at risk of reverting back to old, traditional ways of working. Maybe based on communication patterns showing silos or decision-making slowing down. This allows the SBC to be proactive, offering support or targeted workshops to those areas before the transformation stalls or backslides.
Again, moving from reactive fixing to proactive support.
Precisely. Managing the change actively based on leading indicators from the data.
But this capability, monitoring communication for cultural health or process issues, it brings us back to that tension you mentioned earlier, trust.
Absolutely. It's critical. If you're going to use AI to analyze communication or sentiment, you have to be transparent about it. What's being measured? Why? How is the data being used? The goal has to be improvement and support, not surveillance or judgment. Otherwise, people will just game the system, or worse, shut down. Building and maintaining that psychological safety becomes even more critical for the SBC in an AI-augmented world.
A very important balancing act. Okay, let's pull this all together. For the listener, maybe an SBC or someone considering it, what's the bottom line? What are the career implications here? The so what?
Well, the market signals are pretty clear, I think. We know SAFE is widespread. Something like 70% of the Fortune 100 use it in some capacity. And AI adoption is just exploding everywhere. So SPCs who develop this dual expertise, who really understand both SAFE and how to leverage AI within that framework, they become incredibly valuable, highly sought after. We're talking premium compensation, yes, but more importantly, access to genuine strategic leadership roles. They're not just coaching teams, they're helping steer the entire digital transformation strategy using data.
Right. Because combining these skills, as we've discussed, it demonstrably accelerates the transformation, it reduces the risks involved, and it helps maximize the actual return on that big agile investment. It really elevates the SBC role from a valuable coach to an, well, almost indispensable strategic partner for the business. So this has been a deep dive into this really powerful merger of the scaled agile framework and artificial intelligence. We've touched on how AI enables truly predictive planning, makes portfolio management more dynamic and responsive, helps streamline the intensity of PI planning, and allows for much more personalized and effective coaching and training.
And we talked about how AI can analyze communication and sentiment to guide those crucial cultural interventions, which, as you said, transforms coaching effectiveness. But it does leave us with a really important question, something for you to think about in your own context. In this emerging world where AI can monitor team interactions for process improvement or cultural alignment, how do we, as leaders and consultants, need to redefine trust and psychological safety? How do we ensure that this powerful AI-driven analysis leads to genuine improvement and behavioral change, and not just, people going through the motions or saying the right things because they know they're being monitored?
That is a critical question, ensuring AI serves transformation rather than undermining the culture needed for it. A vital challenge for anyone working in this space. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.